BionicDance is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Atheists can say that they reject God, but they are still confronted with the inescapable problem of how to explain ultimate reality.
No, it's entirely possible to just not care. This burning need for an explanation may not be a uniquely religious issue, but it being an inescapable problem, that is. Let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers, BionicDance here. Today's video isn't exactly a unique topic. It's just the most recent one that made me grouchy. Also, jeepers, look at these tan lines. Yay, California. I gotta go find like a nude beach or something so I can even this out.
Welcome to the Quest channel. 2 weeks ago I uploaded a video which I titled "Does it take faith to be an atheist?" and I got a lot of comments on this video. All of them are from atheists, and we had a discussion, and I want to give an answer to some of their comments. And some people said that atheism has nothing to do with beliefs and that atheism and theories about the Big Bang or evolution don't have to go together. Which is true, they don't have to go together, but most of the atheists do accept these theories.
He doesn't exactly get into why this is relevant. He just says it, and I guess trusts to luck that everyone sees his point. I mean, assuming he has one.
Someone said that atheism is simply the lack of belief in a God. Is it simply the lack of belief in a God or gods? The answer is yes and no. Yes, because atheists do lack a belief in a divine being. Although dictionary.com defines atheism as...
I'm gonna stop you right there. Never, never, never go to a dictionary for a complicated topic like this one. Ever. Dictionaries give you 1 or 2 sentences, and that's simply not enough. For something like this, you need an encyclopedia, at the very least. If you go, for example, to Wikipedia, it most certainly defines atheism as the absence of belief in deities in its broadest sense. Ask most atheists, and they'll agree with this. And many of them will tell you that the traditional definition of atheism being explicit rejection is heavily biased. In fact, there was a time in history when an atheist was defined as someone whose non-belief was specifically in the Judeo-Christian God, even if they believed in another deity. If you want bias, that's bias. The definitions of atheism and agnosticism didn't provide ways to accurately express the positions of many people because they were too separate, didn't allow for the fuzzy nuance inherent in such a complicated topic.
I'm going to allow to atheists and other dictionaries to redefine that definition.
Oh, thank you, Your Majesty. We lowly, non-religious peons are ever so grateful for your magnanimous gesture of permitting us to define ourselves.
But it's not simply the lack of belief in a God. Why? Because if you deny that the universe and life was perfectly designed by a higher intelligence, you have to find an alternative way to explain reality.
No, you don't. It's perfectly acceptable to point out when someone is wrong without knowing the right answer. You can tell someone, here is a fact you got wrong. Here is where your logic failed. Your conclusions are explicitly contradicted by the known data. And nobody needs the correct answer to point this out. That doesn't then validate your mistakes.
And atheists do make assumptions in order to explain a reality and the world around us without a God.
Again, no. This is a mistake I see theists making a lot, thinking that atheism is like a religion, that it's similar, that atheism comes with baggage the way a religion does. It doesn't. That mistake seems to assume that, much like religion, atheism pervades every part of an atheist's life, that it determines the rest of our worldview. It doesn't. Atheism doesn't come with doctrine or dogma. It's not a worldview at all. All it means is that there are those who believe in a God, and we're not one of them. There are God believers, and there is the entire rest of the universe, which isn't. There are those who watch football, and there is the entire rest of the universe, which doesn't. That's it. Anything and everything else an atheist thinks or does is extra, is only not affected by religious thinking. It's not driven by that absence.
Most atheists don't lack a belief in materialism, for example. They are not skeptical of naturalism. They think it's true, even if there is no scientist who can explain how life started on Earth through natural processes.
I really need to get a spray bottle so I can go psh No, bad theist. You can't go atheists say, like we're all following some godless holy writ. Most of us agree with each other on these issues, it's true, but the difference is why we think these things are so. Critical thinking does tend to lead one to finding flaws in the God hypothesis and seek alternative explanations. Unlike religion, which tells you what to believe, to take it all on faith and bother the evidence. Who needs it when you have God's alleged say-so?
Philip Johnson said, "He who is a skeptic of one set of beliefs is a true believer in another set of beliefs." And that is the case with atheism. If you're an atheist, you are a believer. I'm not saying that you're religious, but you do have a set of assumptions that cannot be proven.
Oh? And what are these assumptions, if I may ask?
When atheist scientists are asked to explain the fine-tuning of the universe, the laws of physics, the laws of nature, laws of mathematics, the information in the DNA, you get a "we don't know yet" answer. And they hope that science will discover the answer for these things in 50 or 100 years, but even if there is absolutely no evidence that life could arise by accident, they are sure that a materialistic explanation would be found, and that is called an assumption.
Stop saying accident. None of this was an accident, even though it wasn't intentional. The universe tends towards order from chaos, no God required. And why shouldn't someone assume the answer will exist within the material realm? We have no evidence that any other exists, no reason to think some non-material plane might be a real thing. Every scrap of data we've ever been able to collect is material. Hell, the material realm is the only place we can even look for answers to these kinds of questions. The only reason we're forced to wonder if the explanation is supernatural is because you jokers brought it up, and with no explanation other than that we have to have faith. So no, this isn't an assumption. If it's anything, it's a well-informed, fully justified argument from probability. It's the most likely scenario, and that's why we tentatively accept it pending new data.
Richard Dawkins said, "In a universe of electrons and selfish genes, blind physical forces, and genetic replication, some people are going to get hurt, other people are going to get lucky, and you won't find any rhyme or reason in it, nor any justice. The universe that we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is, at bottom, no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but pitiless indifference." I'm going to put these two sentences in contrast with the Bible.
The Bible says that there is a reason for this universe, for this earth. That there is an ultimate justice. And there is a great purpose in life.
Well, good for the fucking Bible. But so what? That's just what a book says. But what Richard Dawkins said is that what we observe is what we'd expect from a godless universe. He's pointing out that all the fluffy rainbow garbage you just spouted is nowhere to be found. You might find the Bible to be more palatable, but that's not the question. The question is whether it's true, and we've not only been given no reason to think so, but many, many reasons to think that it's nothing more than a fairy tale whose fans have taken it way too seriously.
If you think that I just made up this happy and nice thing because I don't want to embrace reality and I want to believe in these biblical fairy tales, well, subscribe to my channel because I want to explore together with you a logical and reasonable worldview that happens to be theistic.
Yeah, I'm not subscribing to your channel. I'm sure you're not subscribing to mine. I'd take those odds to Vegas. Right, before I go, a few more thank yous. First, I was sent a board game by Abigor Zorander, who I'm almost certainly I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name, I have to be, but it's called Hyperborea. I've never heard of it, I know nothing about it, except that it is super frickin' heavy. I do have a board game night, so I'll probably be taking it to that, and I'll see if I can convince some people to try to learn how to play it with me. So thank you for that. And next, a thank you going out to someone who only goes by MTD. I don't know what that stands for. But as most of you probably know, my favorite movie is Tron. And they released these Tron figurines. This one is, well, it's Tron and Goofy done up like he's in Tron. I think that's really odd. And then there's also Sark, the bad guy, with someone I don't actually, Sora, apparently. So these are from Kingdom Hearts, which I understand is some sort of game that I don't play. I just wanted the Tron figures, right? And to Hades with the the Disney characters done up like they're in the Tronverse. I mean, what's the point? But MTD brought up a great point, is that they have Tron and they have Sark, but where's Flynn? There's no Flynn. And, like, he's arguably the main character of the movie, despite the movie's title. So I'm just wondering, I wish they had made a Tron, a Flynn, and a Sark and just put them all in one package instead of having to buy this extra superfluous character that I've never heard of. But anyway, so thank you. This seems to be the last bit of Tron merchandise I can find that's not based on that cinematic abomination they tried to pass off as a sequel. Don't see that if you're a fan of the original Tron, trust me. Anyway, so thank you, and until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please think. Never, never, never go to a dictionary for a complicated... That's it. Anything and everything else an atheist.
Attention citizens. Failure to contribute will result in suspended oxygen privileges. Attention citizens. Failure to contribute will result in suspended oxygen privileges. Attention citizens.
Ignorance killed the cat. Curiosity was framed.